going on, good people? It's Will. I just wanted to go over real quick how I personally hold an AR, whether it's pistol or a rifle. There's a bunch of different ways to do it. I'm just going to show you what I do. First, you want to kind of size the rifle to the length of your arm. In my opinion, that's the best way to do it. I know some people were taught nose to charging handle, so they'll bring their stock or their brace all the way in, so their nose is literally all the way up where the charging handle is. If that's what you like, I'm not here to tell you not to. I personally will extend my stock or my brace out a little farther. For me, I normally all the way out and then one click in. So what I want basically is to have the end of the stock against my bicep if my arm is in this position. So that's a good length for me personally. And then what I'll do then is I'll figure out where I'm comfortable holding the rail or the handguard, and then I'll position all of my switches and everything from my lights or whatever else that I'm running in those positions. But once you have your buttstock in the right length for you, then it's just how do you mount the rifle to your body. One of the advantages of having a rifle versus a pistol is that you have 4 points of contact. So with a pistol, if I'm shooting a pistol, I have my left hand and my right hand, right? My left hand and my right hand, that's all I have in order to stabilize the gun, left and right hand. Right, so if I'm using a rifle, I have my left and right hand still, but then I also have my chest or my body, and then I have my cheek. So I have 4 points of contact, so that's going to stabilize the weapon a lot easier and make it easier for you to shoot accurately, especially at speed. So what I do as far as positioning the rifle on my body, some people will put the rifle kind of in their shoulder pocket so they're out a little more. I prefer it a little more inboard. The reason why I like that, I feel like I have more control of the weapon. If I'm shooting something that's a higher caliber, it's less likely to twist my body because I'm more centered up with it. And then also, lastly, as far as my head position and my cheek weld, when the weapon is more centered up, I don't have to bring my head as far over. If I'm wider out, farther out, then I have to come farther out. Also, I found that if I'm running any kind of body armor, or if I have even a book bag or any kind of straps right here, sometimes that can interfere where I'm mounting the rifle. So being more inboard, if I do have plates on, I'm just going to be on the plates. All right, so I'm not going to be on the edge of it. And depending on if I have a different carrier on that day or anything like that, it might be a little bit different for when I'm mounting the rifle. So I like things to be consistent. So I stay kind of centered up with my body. And then from there, I can bring the rifle up and get on target if I need to. As far as the way I grip, I try to get up as high as I can, and be honest with you. Sometimes, depending on the rifle that I'm holding, sometimes it's not as comfortable being as high, so I will drop my hand down just a little bit. It's not going to make the weapon flip like it would if it was a pistol. It's a little bit different. But usually you want to get up as high as you can comfortably on the back strap of the pistol grip. Now, what I do, a lot of people just hold their pistol grip and just run their fire controls and their trigger. I do apply a little rearward pressure with my firing hand. Not a lot, but just a slight pull to make sure that that weapon is firmly seated against my body. With my left hand or my support hand, I'm doing a lot of pulling. So I'm really driving that weapon back into my chest to make sure that when it recoils, it doesn't really move. And then I can place faster follow-up shots. As far as hand placement, I do C-clamp, but I do more of a modified C-clamp than a full-on C-clamp. So if you're not familiar, C-clamp is where you're literally making a C with your hand and you're coming over the bore or over the rail. All right. So what I normally do is I mirror my pistol grip. So again, my pistol grip is here. All right, thumbs forward. So with the rifle, I do the same thing, but my support hand is just here. My thumb is still pointed towards my target. I can still, just like with the regular C-clamp, I still can push down on the end of the rifle to keep that muzzle flip at a minimum. But then also, if I need to run my controls and I need to get on my light is right there, and I don't have to move my hands at all. I do have a hand stop. On shorter weapons, I'll have the front part of the hand stop on there as well to make sure I can't go that far forward. This is a 16-inch, so I'm not worried about my hand being out in front of the muzzle. If I do that, and it's a really bad day because my arm isn't even that long, I'd have to kind of turn sideways to get my hand out that far. So I'm using this just to pull back into my body, pulling back slightly with my right hand, aggressively with my left. Weapon is up against my cheekbone on my face, firmly planted into my chest, and from here I can take shots or come off the weapon there. So it's just here. Typically what I'll do is I'll have the rifle about shoulder height. Now the weapon wants to come back this way. As you can see, there's a little bit of a gap, but what will happen is when I get into my shooting stance, I'll come slightly forward with my upper body, and that'll flatten the buttstock out against my shoulder or my chest. So with the weapon that has a pistol grip like this one, I'm not finished, so don't worry about the optics. These are a little bit shorter, so the length of pull on these is a little bit shorter than they are with the rifle stock. So if you see, this is all the way out and it's still not touching my bicep, where the other one was touching and I had it in one click. So this one, the length is what you have. So I just bring these all the way out. I still, before I even put my my lights and switches and everything on here, I figure out what's comfortable as far as where to hold, and then I use that to put my vertical grip or a hand stop or whatever the hell I'm going to use. The last thing I do with my right shoulder or left, if it's mounted on my left shoulder, is as the weapon is in my chest, get my cheek well, I actually take my right shoulder and I wrap it around the gun. So I kind of cup the gun to the outside with that shoulder. So I'll wrap it around to really cinch that weapon into my body so that me and the weapon are one. And again, when I'm firing, there's less chance of it moving around too much. It's going to move some, but you can limit that with how aggressively you get the weapon connected to your body. You definitely don't want any space, because it's just going to start slapping you every time you fire. But either way, if you have any questions, let me know.
Give me the 14 when it's 14, me kill 14, what you know about AR-15, the class 16, me dinner the start.